The Second Ward in the city of St. Louis was hit especially hard during the subprime mortgage crisis that began in 2008. New businesses, new grants, and some rehabilitated housing are putting it back on track. I'm Tim Lampley, your host today for In Your Ward. Dionne, it's good to finally meet you. Thank you for joining us. Can you tell me a little bit about your career and how you came to arrive in the position that you're in right now?
So in 1996, Joanne Satanix retired and they asked me to run for committeeman. I really was not interested in politics, didn't think I had what it took, but I ran and I won. And then in 1999, I ran for alderman and I was successful. I have been for 14 years.
Have you seen a lot of changes in local politics?
Yes, when I got into politics, it was a little bit more rambunctious, I can say. But this Board of Aldermen, probably within the last 5 to 6 years, we've gotten along quite well. We've done some really good things with legislations and implementing things in the city, and we have a really good camaraderie down here.
Explain to me where your jurisdiction is as Alderwoman of the Second Ward.
Okay, the Second Ward is the largest ward in the city. I go all the way from Riverview to 270 to Broadway and Melanthie, which is down by the 10th Street bridge that's coming in. I hang right off of Highway 70 to College Hill off of Grand and Blair. So I'm pretty north, south, all the way. All of the church members and the College Hill residents, today is a day of celebration. I remember being here just 5 months ago, and it doesn't seem like it's that long, and it was so cold that day. I had so many clothes on, I didn't think I was going to be able to lift my foot to shove that shovel in the ground. But we did, and it happened. And when I inherited College Hill 10 years ago in redistricting, and I got to know Lutheran Housing Services and all the folks involved, it didn't start good, but it sure happened and ended in a happy way. I am so proud of you and what you've done and what you've accomplished. The College Hill residents, you are the best.
What would you say has been some of the most challenging things for you in your ward?
Well, the turnover in the ward. We were probably one of the most stable communities, stable wards about 10, 11 years ago, and we've lost population because we were number 1 in subprime lending and number 3 in foreclosures. So we don't have as many homeowners as we used to. So our population has been a very high turnover, and trying to re-educate the citizens as to how city services work, how to make complaints, and to attend meetings has been kind of challenging.
And you mentioned foreclosing,
yes.
Foreclosures and the housing vandalism.
Yes.
In the area, because once a house is foreclosed upon, then you have to try and protect it from people who may go in and take things or damage the home.
Right.
What do you propose to combat that?
Well, because of our high foreclosure and subprime lending, we were able to get NSP dollars from Obama, and we were able to actually acquire some of the homes from the banks and rehab them. So we are in the process. We have one that's almost completed, one that is completed and occupied, and we have 7 more to go. So we've been able to utilize those dollars to try to stabilize the community. But unfortunately, since 2008, the banks have had a lot of these homes, and we weren't able to get our hands on them. So they did go through quite a bit of vandalism, and so now rehab has become quite expensive. So we've been able to utilize those dollars to our best, but we would really like to do more properties if we could.
And with all of these properties out there in the condition that they are in, what does it do to the community, the morale of the community?
Well, when you have a resident that moves next door to someone that's been living in the community for 25 and 30 years, and they're not used to how the fabric of that block works. Sometimes they can become nuisances. Sometimes they don't really know how to care for their property, because some of them haven't been homeowners before. They're renters. And not that we have a lot of apartments, but a lot of the homes have become rental units now. So to try to get them to be a part of the community and be part of the neighborhood, sometimes it's a little struggle for the homeowners, and they tend to look at that as a negative. But I'm trying to hold on to them. I don't want them to leave. The ones that we do have there and our new residents, we're really trying to build a great neighborhood.
And you said your population is about 11,000?
About 11,000, yeah.
Crime.
Crime.
Let's talk about that. What do you do to address that in your ward?
The best thing to do is try to educate people how to report a crime, how to report a nuisance, what things to look for, to meet and know their officer liaisons. We have a neighborhood liaison officer. Know your captain. Go to your captain's meetings, which is North Patrol every fourth Monday of the month. We try to give them all the phone numbers they need to call to make sure they get those citizens' complaints in. And really, honestly, Baton led in the years pretty high in the crime rate across 7 categories. But knock on wood, the 6th district has been doing pretty good in the last 2 to 3 years, and our crime rate is down quite a bit. We do have some auto theft, we do experience some home burglaries, but for the most part, we're doing really well as far as violent crime and assaults. We're doing pretty good there.
What do you say when you're at home and you're watching television and you notice that it's happening in your ward?
Well, the news is the first thing I turn on in the morning to see what's going on. And I could say it's a little soothing to know that a lot of things aren't happening in my ward, but I am very concerned with what's happening in the city and neighboring neighborhoods, because it does affect us. But when you look at the news...
Well, you mentioned last night that you saw one.
Right, yeah, I was just told this morning, that we had a shooting. And, you know, it's not what you want to hear, because now you have residents that want to know what's going on, what happened, are we safe, what are the police doing? And we have a new captain now, Captain Kuntz. He worked in the Baton area years ago and he's back, and I really like what I've seen so far in him. And it seems like, you know, with Captain Dotson, Chief Dotson coming on board, a lot of things have changed, and that is really changing as far as the police resident communication. And a lot of our people are starting to get faith back into, you know, reporting crimes, not being so scared to do so. But it is not too good of a feeling to wake up and see that you've had several shootings or so forth. The young 9-year-old that was killed a couple of months ago on Goodfellow, he lived in my ward, my boarding ward. It was 27th ward, but it was close enough to, you had to really pay attention to what's going on and what's going on with our community.
As Alderwoman, do you think the residents expect you to be everything to everybody?
Yes.
And how do you address that?
Well, you have to explain to them, I'm a resident just like them. I just was one person that just stepped up to become alderman. And we all have to work together. I cannot be everywhere at every moment, just like the police can't be everywhere at every moment. So we need them to be the eyes and the ears to reporting, to watching things in the neighborhood. They are the neighborhood watch, and they report that to the authorities. So education is the key to that. But yeah, I feel like they want me to do it all. And honestly, my mother's a little scared for me, but when it comes to crime, you know, that's one of my favorite things to do. I like to get down and dirty. Okay. I like to get out there, and I like to confront the drug dealers and the folks out there doing it. I want them to run when they see me. Okay.
And speaking of the things that you're proud of, what are you most proud about?
What I'm most proud of...
In the time that you've served since 1999,
Since 1999, correct? Yeah. We actually connected the North Riverfront Trail, which is a trail that runs downtown along the riverfront to Leonore K. Sullivan. It was 15 miles at the time. We've connected that to the Chain of Rocks Bridge, which is a historical Route 66 in our community. And we've actually done some concerts there called Live on the Rocks, where it's free to the community. It's been a total peaceful, non-violent event to try to bring that attraction. A lot of people don't think that that's in the city of St. Louis. It's a beautiful entry to the state of Missouri. We did that connection. Now it's 17.5 miles. You can actually ride from downtown to North St. Louis and then go to Illinois and come loop back around. Wow. So we have a lot of activity, bike activity in the ward. Another thing I did as alderperson is I made medical waste incineration illegal in the city of St. Louis, which has made our community healthier for low birth rate and asthma and protecting our children, so the pollution isn't as high. But just, you know, trying to get my community, downtown Baton is something I'm working on, something that as a child I remember was thriving, and that's my commitment to re-spur that development. But, you know, as alderperson of a community that was very stable 20, 30 years ago, and knowing what it looked like then and trying to bring that back is something that I'm interested in doing. Matter of fact, we're renovating the Halls Ferry Circle Fountain, which I actually repaired in 2004 and was destroyed 3 months later. Wow. but we are bringing that back. So hopefully in spring we'll have that fountain going, and that will be the interest to the city at the Halls Ferry Circle.
And something else I found interesting, I understand that when you're not serving the community, you're also doing hair.
Yes, I've been a barber for 21 years. I have a barbershop at Riverview McLaren, so I'm right in the heart of the neighborhood. So when
Is that a family business?
It is.
Okay.
My father's been cutting hair for 50 years. And
what's it called?
Golden Shears Barbershop.
Okay.
And people come to see me in the community. They know me as their alderman. Some know me as their alderman and their barber. And we also have neighborhood meetings in our banquet hall, which is Charlotte's Hall right there. So they know where to come and find me.
You think getting new businesses is the key to impacting the community in a positive way of really revitalizing any community?
Yes. Not only does it change the way the community looks, because improvements definitely do bring, projects and so forth, but it's a lot of employment that have come with those developments. We have Love's Travel Center, which is going to open up next month. We've got Raven Tires and Gedeke, which has hired a lot of people in the area. We have a 100,000 square foot aquaponic greenhouse, which is coming, which will bring jobs to the area, as well as Cummings Mid-South, which is a trucking refrigeration company. So when you bring business to the area, and I have a lot of industrial area, you bring employment, which does help better the community.
And what about you mentioned some other events that are coming up.
We have the Bait and Taste, where we have a parade, try to wake everybody up to come down to Hickey Park. We have live entertainment, we have a petting zoo, we have a car show, we have vendors. It's a bunch of fun.
Great.
Bunch of fun.
Fantastic. So we're going to come back and talk to you a little bit more. Folks, when we come back, we're going to go out in the community, talk with Dionne Flowers, Alderwoman of the 2nd Ward, and find out all the positive things going on in that community.
Hey!
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
This song was created with heartbeats of children in need. Find out how it can help frontline health workers bring hope to millions of children at everybeatmatters.org.
Now it's time for This Week in Bad Stats.
Bad stats?
Horrible stats. Here goes. 132.
That's how many batters struck out 4 times in one game last season.
Wow, very good. Here's a tough one, though. 3 and 4.
No idea.
That's how many kids witness bullying. 3 out of 4.
That's not a good stat.
No, it's not, but it can change. Kids want to help, but they don't know how. Visit StopBullying.gov and give them the tools they need to help prevent bullying.
There are plenty of safe ways kids can help at StopBullying.gov.
The 2nd Ward is the largest ward in the city of St. Louis. Neighborhoods located in Ward 2 include Baden, College Hill, North Riverfront, and North Point. Dionne Flowers has served as alderwoman here for nearly 15 years. Her tireless efforts are evident throughout. The committees she serves on are Parks and Environment, Health and Human Services, Streets, and the Public Utilities Committee, where she serves as chair. Before showing us around, we met her here at this location, 6085 West Florissant. It's called the Riverview West Florissant Development Corporation and described as a much-needed headquarters, if you will, for many services in the 2nd Ward.
It's a corporation that Alderman Carter kind of introduced me to, brought me into about 4 or 5 years ago. And Riverview West Florissant and their staff actually run all my programs out of the second ward. Our critical home repair, our handyman program, our Live on the Rocks, which has been 3 years running now, our Bait and Taste, which we just had earlier this month. And they do our Love Thy Neighborhood, which you have filmed many, many times in the past. And they're just our key, our core to where our residents know where to go to get information, services, and assistance.
Out in the community, Alderwoman Flowers is smiling a lot more these days thanks to new energy in her ward. Energy brought on by new construction.
It first started out where we applied for some state funds to redo Cary. That was a $3 million project. Widened it, made it more truck friendly for traffic from Hall Street to Broadway. This is actually the second stop after the new bridge is coming in. So it's a real popular, heavily driven, populated site. So trucks can come right off from Illinois, from downtown, and come here and get services that Love's Travel Center offers, mostly south.
Love's Travel Center, the newest attraction in the second ward, was under construction for months before finally opening last December. Located at I-70 and North Broadway, it's an all-inclusive stop for truckers and anyone looking to buy gas, a meal, or even pick up a small gift.
This area is just been triggered by industrial attraction, and with that servicing truck area and industrial area, you're going to have more businesses like it. So it brings more jobs, it brings more revenue, and it brings more traffic to the area.
The Alderwoman credits Rabin Tire Company and Gattaca, located just across the street from Love's, for sparking interest in new business development in the area. Clayton-based Green Street Properties developed the 9-acre site, which sits 5 miles north of downtown St. Louis. Brian Pratt is a vice president for Green Street.
For Green Street Properties, we have over $70 million in investment in North City, ranging across 6 properties. Most recently, our project completed is behind me here. This is Green Park Broadway at 840 East Taylor. We took a former streetcar facility, expanded it, and converted it to a 2-tenant building for Gattaca equipment and Rabin Tire. Rabin new to St. Louis. Gattaca was an existing St. Louis company that needed to be relocated from Cortex. We spent $11 million on the renovation. This is a LEED Gold certified building by the U.S. Green Building Council. We did a full renovation, all new systems.
With this $11 million facility came more than 100 new jobs to the area, and Pratt says there are more to come. A 50,000 square foot building will soon stand here where you see this pile of dirt on 36 acres off Cary Avenue. It'll be home to a current St. Louis company.
We mentioned that we had the property up here. They wanted close proximity to the interstate. They are a transportation, trucking-related business, so the Love's commitment really solidified their interest in this location.
The new businesses, Alderwoman Flowers points out, help support the tax base and improve property values. Some much-needed relief in an area hit hard by the subprime mortgage crisis of 2008.
Just staying here is what they all have more pride in. These are where they grew up, some of us. Some of them lived here 20, 30 years. We're not in total devastation as far as our housing market, but it did plummet quite a bit in 2008. And the one thing that the community wants to do is stay in the community. They don't want to go.
And residents shouldn't feel they have to go anywhere, says Flowers, as long as the community thrives and decent homes are available. Thankfully, through NSP, Neighborhood Stabilization Program dollars, some of the houses that were abandoned and derelict have been bought back from the banks and brought back from the brink of despair.
Some of the homes that we've acquired have been sitting for so long that they've had their pipes stolen, the gutters removed, the furnaces stolen, and this was one of the ones that we were able to capture that is still in good condition, great brickwork, great structural integrity steel, and we're going to rehab this one and put it back together to stabilize this block.
Elsewhere in the second ward, Flowers focuses her attention on ways her residents can improve their health.
We have a very high rate of heart disease and diabetes and high blood pressure, and I want people to take hold of their health and get out there and exercise. I got a 1 mile walking trail with exercise stations, and a lot of people have really grown to use that.
And the Alderwoman wants to lift spirits as well by reinstalling the fountain that once sat here in the middle of this roundabout called the Riverview Circle. She says more than 30,000 cars drive through this area daily and bring growth to nearby businesses.
Judy Satanics was an activist in this community back in the 70s and 80s, and she actually got a grant to build that fountain.
Now, are there park benches in that park area too, or is it just going to be pretty much just decorated for the drivers?
Well, it is maintained by the park, but it's not considered a park.
Alderwoman Flowers has a grant of her own to talk up for some overdue street improvements to Baton's business district. Soon sidewalks, lanes, and areas along Broadway will be improved with a whopping $2.6 million in funds she's received.
This is an area where I've applied for some capital improvement funds to redo this area. So we're going to build a retainer wall, put some nice vegetation on top of it, make it more eye-appealing, more entrance-friendly and exit-friendly to Baton. So this is part of that $2.6 million grant that we got for Broadway. Not those funds, but this other capital improvement project is a continuation of that, so we can just do the whole Broadway area.
Resident Patty Hofer in the Chain of Rocks community just wants people to slow down, be safe, and experience all her community has to offer.
First of all, Tim, I'd love to welcome you to the Chain of Rocks neighborhood. You won't find Chain of Rocks on any of the paperwork put out by the city. We named ourselves Chain of Rocks.
The longtime resident is a member of the new Chain of Rocks Community Association. Nestled up in her 1920s home on the river bluffs above the Mississippi, she believes the old Chain of Rocks Bridge is one of the area's best-kept secrets. The bridge, built in 1929, was part of the famous Route 66 and one of the sites for the movie Escape from New York, released in 1981.
The historic old Chain of Rocks Bridge is architecturally significant because it's one of the foremost steel truss bridges. Also, it has a bend in the middle to accommodate the old steamships, and a movie was made on it. You know, it's a fascinating piece of Americana that everybody ought to enjoy, and it's always cool there.
Hofer says the whole area was once, believe it or not, a vacation spot for many Americans.
People would take the trolley up from far parts of the county and city and spend the day here overlooking the waterworks. That was something to do because when those waterworks came in, that was really something. They were cleaning the water for the 1904 World's Fair. So it was quite a destination. People would spend a whole day, and the gals would be in their midi blouses and long skirts, and the guys were wearing coats and ties. It's kind of neat.
With so many plans, so much history, and so little time to explain it all, Alderwoman Flowers suggests you check out the Second Ward for yourself and see all the positive things that are making a difference in the lives of St. Louisans. I'm Tim Lampley for In Your Ward.